Scandinavian defense, Mieses-Kotr, main line, 4.d4 nf6 5.nf3. Intense. That was a serious game. White really outplayed black in that one. Both players had an amazing opening. It was an incredible middle game by both players. White's endgame precision was a cut above black's. Sharp games are frequently the result of starting with the king's pawn, since it dominates the center and frees up the bishop and queen on the light squares. The Scandinavian defense immediately challenges the center by attacking the e4 pawn. The best move is x5, which widens the middle. If black captures on d5 with the queen, white will gleefully use nc3 to assault the queen. Qx d5 moves the queen to the center, where it has influence over many crucial squares, and recaptures the d5 pawn. nc3 develops the knight toward the center and immediately attacks the queen. This knight move also starts the fight for the e4 square. Qa5 removes the attacked queen from the center. After white moves their d-pawn to d4 or d3, the knight on c3 will be pinned. In addition to controlling the e5 and c5 squares and giving the dark squared bishop room to grow, d4 takes up space in the center. nf6 develops the knight toward the center and controls the e4 and d5 squares. nf3 controls the e5 square, advances the knight toward the center, and defends the d4 pawn. By doing this, a bishop moves out of its beginning square and into the action. By growing a bishop from its initial square, this activates it. By doing this, a bishop moves out of its beginning square and into the action. The bishop will be better off as a result of this. This reveals an attack on a queen. This threatens to win a queen. This move puts the queen on a safer square. This keeps the material balance in check with good commerce. Backs off. This activates a queen by developing it off of its starting square. This adds pressure by pinning a knight. It is the last book move. Now that the rooks can see one another, they can defend one another. It is ideal. There were worse maneuvers, but there were also much better ones. It is incorrect. Perfectly on point. It is ideal. This develops a bishop off its starting square, getting it into the action. This threatens to play checkmate. It is best. This blocks an attack on a vulnerable pawn. This is the only good move. This threatens to win a bishop. This prevents the opponent from being able to play checkmate. It is a great move. The game was almost evenly matched, but black is now worse. It is incorrect. Recaptures. It is ideal. The rooks are linked by this, making it easier for them to work together in the future. It is quite good. The bishop is now in a secure position. It is ideal. The bishop is now on a square that is more secure. It is ideal. This strikes the opponent's bishop. It is ideal. It is a fair deal after all captures. It is ideal. Backs off. It is ideal. The knight becomes more active as a result, gaining control over more of the board. It is quite good. This fails to take use of the chance to improve a bishop's square and broaden its range. It is incorrect. Recaptures. It is ideal. The bishop is now in a secure position. It is ideal. That's a decent move. That's good. This attacks a knight and gains a tempo when the knight retreats. That's good. This shields the knight who was attacked. It is ideal. The pawns in front of the king could potentially double as a result. It is incorrect. This keeps the material balance in check with good commerce. That's good. Backs off. This poses a threat to strike a knight. It is ideal. This prevents the adversary from kicking a knight. It is ideal. It's all right. That's good. What I would have advised is that. It is ideal. As a result, the rooks are placed in a single file and are able to cooperate to pose a danger. It is quite good. The best choice is this one. It is ideal. A wise decision. It is quite good. While not a mistake, that is also not the wisest course of action. That's good. That's a decent move. That's good. This prevents an assault on a pawn that may have been taken. That's good. It's all right. That's good. By moving a rook from its starting square, this activates it. It is quite good. While not a mistake, that is also not the wisest course of action. That's good. Very precise. It is best. Perfectly on point. It is ideal. This offers an equal trade of pieces. This threatens to take an open file with the rook. It is best. Now that the rooks can see one another, they can defend one another. It is ideal. Now the rook is properly protected. It is quite good. This buys time by putting a rook in danger and getting it to flee. It is ideal. The rook is now in a safe position. That's good. Not the finest, this. It is incorrect. This competes for the open file with the opposing rook. It is ideal. It is a fair deal after all captures. It is ideal. Recaptures. Black is equal at this point in the endgame. It is ideal. The pawn is now in a safe position. It is ideal. A powerful play. It is quite good. This keeps the material balance in check with good commerce. It is ideal. Backs off. It is ideal. In the endgame, an active king is essential, and removing it from the rear rank is the first step. It is quite good. This misses a chance to pose a pawn-winning threat. It is incorrect. This exchange is fair. It is ideal. Recaptures. It is ideal. The pawn is now passed because it can no longer be opposed as it attempts to promote by other pieces. It is ideal. This poses a risk of winning a pawn. There was only one move that was effective, and this was not it. It is incorrect. This is the only good move. It is a great move. A passed pawn is pushed by this. It is quite good. What I would have advised is that. It is ideal. It was a free pawn there. It is ideal. This is the only move that works. It is a great move. This ignores a more effective approach to sidestep the enemy rook's check. It is incorrect. This takes an outpost, an active square where the bishop cannot be kicked out by a pawn. This is the only good move. This threatens to fork pieces. It is a great move. This suggests exchanging items of equivalent value. It is ideal. The rook is now on a square that is more secure. It is ideal. A passing pawn could be promoted as a result of this. It is quite good. This is the only move that works. This threatens to fork pieces. This stops the opponent from being able to push a passed pawn towards promotion. It is a great move. This turns the pawn into a passed pawn, which means no other pawn may oppose it as it advances. That's good. This comes in several sections. It is ideal. This avoids the rook's check. It is ideal. That pawn was available for free. It is ideal. That's a decent move. That's good. The rook is now in a safe position. That's good. This disregards a superior strategy for defending a piece that was being attacked. It is incorrect. It was a free pawn there. It is ideal. This defends the attacked knight. This threatens to reveal an attack on a rook. It is good. This prevents the adversary from making an attack on a rook known. It is quite good. That is a logical response. It is quite good. The best choice is this one. It is ideal. This moves the checking rook farther away. It is ideal. Very precise. It is best. Intense. That was a serious game. White really outplayed black in that one. Both players had an amazing opening. It was an incredible middle game by both players. White's endgame precision was a cut above black's.